Alright, I do believe we have Sis here to help us cast from now on, which is a very good change of pace because I'm just casting on my own and that's quite difficult.
Can you believe it, Sheperd Doggy?
Yeah.
They said it would never happen. Even the most faithful of Sheperd Doggies needs his Houndmaster, and here I am, big guy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's gonna be Silek and Sergi's score over. Also, very happy to have you over, Sis. Very, very
Happy to
happy.
be here, brother. Happy to be seen. What an incredible game that was, though. Almost to the end of it there, you thought it would be one of these scrappy comeback victories, but boy oh boy, did Sergei's flagellin there get more than the bang for his buck.
Absolutely. So it's gonna be me against Sparky next. So if you want to cast that, I would be more than happy.
I'm casting that on my own.
You know, we could ask someone else to come over. But are you fine with casting on your own?
I'd rather not, to be honest with you, big guy.
Alright then, well, I'm not quite sure then, because I would cast my own match with you casting at the same time, but that's kind of weird. I am just adding Sparky right now.
Imagine putting yourself into your own
We were well on players, alright? We needed to add a few
crazy
more.
world.
Yeah. I put myself into the own tournament I'm casting.
Who is it that likes to cast? Is it Dismaz, Dino Boy? Who else?
Well, I would really like to have Ludic over, but I believe that he is not around right now. Oh, maybe he is. Maybe he is.
There we go.
I'm just gonna send him a few messages. Maybe he is around.
I can give it a shot solo casting if no one else is available at all, but I'm very rusty, so I'm not sure how good it would be, brother.
I believe in you. Also, we do have. I would have to show the decks, so that's fine. I am gonna show the decks right now between what I have and what Sparky has. So give me just a second. Alright, I do believe we can see the decks right now. Can you see them, Sis?
There's yes, there we go. There's a delay between the stream and the Discord, obviously, but yeah, I can see these decks now.
Yeah, so what do you think of both their decks? What do you think of this new meta?
Well, I'm seeing this this player on the right here, known as Sheperd.jpg, and I'm already disappointed in some of his picks. You know what I mean? What could this guy be thinking, Sheperd Doggy? Obviously picking the Halo at the top here, which is something that even now we are almost impossibly more acquainted with than we ever thought we ever would be. It's perhaps going to be interesting to see the evolution of Halo gameplay coming into, you know, really the latest ends of this game currently. But boy, oh boy, against most of Sparky's lineups here, that could really, really be a free win. But also, brother, we're seeing some interesting things here. Now, we've got an Antiquarian, we've got a couple Grave Robbers, I believe an Arbalest on Shep's special, no?
Oh, this is a Musketeer right here. So it's
a Musketeer, rather, of course, a Musketeer. So kind of double Halo. That's how cheap you wanted to be today, right? Have you put some of your own money down as the win prize? Desperate to get it back.
Oh, that would be something else, wouldn't it? Well, it is time for me to do my bans, so I do believe I am going to ban Sparky's Halo comp. He's gonna ban my Shep's Stress with the Grave Robber, and I am gonna ban his Halo Pipe.
Wow.
Alright.
Perhaps quite an early error here from your opponent, not instantly banning your Halo.
Well, we'll see. These teams are quite powerful, so we'll see what happens.
To be fair, it happened before where Halo didn't get banned.
Yeah, it's very rare for Halo not to get banned. We have something else popping up. Who is that? I think he's gone by now, but yeah, we do have both these teams. So I am gonna have to make my picks and decide on what exactly I want to play with. Of course, keep in mind, sis, that you know, this is like a competitive tournament, so there's lots of counter picks. So if I pick this team right now, up next I'm going to play either the Halo comp or the Halo comp. So I have to be very careful in terms of what I want to pick.
You know, thank God, Sheperd, that you are here to explain to me the concept of counterpicks in tournament play. I truly would be lost without you, brother.
Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna put the game going, and
Will you be streaming your own game here?
Yes, I believe I will, yeah. So I am actually gonna... how would I do this? I might actually be forced to listen to your casting, to be fair, if I actually want to do this.
I can't imagine a worse fate.
You cannot imagine a worse fate. Alright. Yeah, I am gonna be forced to listen to your casting, but... oh, there is a delay, right? So I would have to stream it here on the...
Yes, brother, you will have to.
Alright, so... is it working?
Good dog. Working perfectly.
Alright, nice. That's quite nice. So I am going to be muting myself. After we go through with this, I'm gonna turn the music volume down just a notch, so it's not too loud.
Okay, it's not working anymore. It's infinitely loading now, infinitely buffering.
Yeah? Okay, that's quite poor. Well, you know what we could do? We could ask Sparky to stream, actually. And you could watch through his game, while the folks watch through my Twitch.
Fair enough.
Yeah, kind of a weird setup that we have going on right now, but not having a spectator function kind of does that.
Racism incarnate with a My Little Pony avatar. I can see what company we're in, huh?
Absolutely. Alright, are we not connected yet? I thought we were. I thought we were connected.
Interesting to note here before the game begins is the costumeering meta picks both people have taken here. It would appear that Sheperd Doggy's opponent, what is his name? Sparky, has gone for the default costume styles, whereas Sheperd Doggy is being somewhat of a fashionista, picking purple for his flagellant and other crazy things like that.
Yeah, I do prefer my characters to look a bit darker in terms of color. In terms of their clothes, I think they look more fashionable.
Tall, dark, and handsome, the three words I always use to describe you, Sheperd Doggy.
Oh, jeez. Okay, we are ready for the match. You can see Sparky's stream, right?
Yes, every time he minimizes it, it pauses though.
Yeah, of course, but when he's playing, it won't be minimized, so... Alright, I think everything is set. We are all ready to go. So, Sparky, whenever you want to start, I think we are ready. I am actually gonna have to mute myself, so see you in a bit, sis.
I miss you already, Sheperd Doggy. Obviously, I would be very appreciative if during the game you would pop in for some thematic barks here and there.
Oh, that would break too much of the that would break too much of the immersion, so I don't think I will. All right, let's get into it.
Sheperd Doggy Shanghaiing me into this, and now unfortunately marooning me to cast this game by myself. I apologize, everyone watching. As this game begins, quite fun to note on the items used by both players so far. We've seen very intricate counter picks. Perhaps in a post-Halo world, we're seeing more things like snuff box. But these rancid cure-alls, very odd, particularly a flagellant. Ooh. There we go. Sheperd Doggy going first. And if Sheperd Doggy's going first, this is Halo comp. We are at a pretty steep disadvantage early on for his opponent here. Delirious. What a fantastic name. Quite interesting there, with an early mark pull on the man-at-arms here. Obviously going to allow him to counter things into that, like the sniper shot into the early finale if he wanted to. Quick counter here from the man-at-arms there, pushing out a bellow. Dodging on the middle two, which is something you really don't want to see this early on, especially due to the fact that if you can mitigate the raw physical damage done by a Halo comp, you've mitigated most of their real damage, outside, obviously, of the Jester's bleed abilities, things like the double AoE bleed. We see somewhat of a buff crusade here, taking the heal and a bulwark of light, I believe it's called, giving them 20 prot and some stress resist throughout the game, if my memory serves me well. Playing a very, very, very quick-paced game here, very quick-fire game here from both players. Choosing to use this first round for Sheperd to not really capitalize too much on that early hook and that coin, instead choosing to dump out his 2 total game buffs, thinking that this one might be going to the 6 or so 10 rounds perhaps. Wow. A big crit there early on the Flagellant. Ultimately, probably won't achieve too much due to the Flagellant's nature as having heavy death blow resist. But apart from that, we can see perhaps an alternation from the what we would term the basic Halo gameplay, really. This kind of early mark, big blast. Even on the first round, you could be looking for a kill. Perhaps not with that finale, but easily with something like a grip into sniper shot into dark stab, perhaps even on the first turn. So Sheperd Doggy here is perhaps evolving the Halo gameplay we're all used to and love to. Really choosing to focus quite heavily on this Flagellant here, really paying dividends, a phrase that we often love to say in this community. Having to dump a guard on him now. Thankfully there, it would appear he's out of Sheperd Doggy's dark stab range, obviously an ability that bypasses guard. But if we are to see something like Caltrops, I believe it's called, on the Bounty Hunter, that could go through that, obviously. Maybe hit the death blow. Very unlikely, though. Oh, wow. That was a 90% stun resistant man-at-arms there, going up against, I believe, a double stun trinket Crusader. So still, not the most likeliest of stuns there from Sheperd Doggy. We could have seen that go either way. And to see it go this way for him right now is... it's not too great for Delirious. We're seeing Halo now push into this sort of more grindy play style, utilizing the stun and this heavy back row damage, really, something that isn't really the kind of going thing, I suppose, at least from my era of the game. Seeing a delicious fade there for the Grave Robber, but Natürlich, the Arbalest, is a utility beast, often running with the Rallying Flare, I believe it's called, ability, allowing her obviously to de-stealth the Grave Robber here, who is marked. But again, when you say that, that is wasting a turn that she isn't using the sniper shot on this target for. A turn that perhaps she would have liked to sniper shot the Flagellant to the back here. It's very good to see these people start to take their time a little bit more in these turns. Something that I often used to harp on about. One of the only resources you have at your advantage that you can leverage in a kind of objective way across your opponent is time. If you take more time to think than your opponent, then it would seem to follow you might make better decisions here. Very, very quick decision there to de-stun the man-at-arms, picking him early there. Very a very, very fast gameplay here from Delirious, in particularly in a position like this where there are so many different permutations of gameplay that could happen. Naturally, again, this Crusade here often uses a stun bot in this comp, taking out the Leper now. This Delirious way, you've wasted half of your round here. Double stunned team where they can't really do anything. This Flagellant to the back here, he's not going to be able to do anything meaningful either. This usage of Caltrops here, quite odd, I've got to say. Maybe he just wants to apply this constant bleed, this almost permanent bleed across them and really rake out the damage. But also, one of these rare AoE Deathblow kind of opportunity cost abilities that you do have going later into the game against a team like Delirious, where you have this open access to guards and stealth mechanics. Now that is a big hit. That is a very big hit. Poison darts by themselves don't do much raw physical damage, but critting out an 11 there completely overloads the stress here. You see that, nearly 9... Oh, good lord. Going back and forth here with these ridiculous crits. This Grave Robber being taken down now to death's door, which is... You know, that's all she wrote. You'd like me to admit. She tried to restore the Leper. Kind of just giving over his Grave Robber there, understanding what happened. Quite, you could call it lucky from Sheperd, though he hit that to hit that crit, but oh, there we go. This is what the Halo comp does. Even if we're seeing it on a round 3 here as opposed to a round 1, that is the bread and butter of the Halo comp right there. The mark sniper shot into collect bounty, finish him, whatever it's called, which obviously has a 100% death blow % chance with these trinkets he's using here. The finisher. Maybe not actually, it's just the finishes there. I do believe you need a second trinket there to get a 100% death blow. I believe this is a grappling mitt trinket to counter something like the snuff box there. We're going to see a harvest. I don't think you need to see too much from this Jester. I think even if you lose him, you are in a very advantageous position, but really, we've seen how far a Flagellant can go by himself in the last game. Although it didn't quite pan out for Sergey there. We would really, really like to see Sheperd Doggy finish off the Flagellant of Delirious with a finale there, bypassing all of his, you know, particularly gruesome abilities. Fearful. That's going to be a plus 10 dodge, as has been mentioned here before, which is obviously quite good with Jester's natural high dodge. But being in the position of that Jester right now, you do have to... You've kind of got to be a little bit wary of not getting the value out of him, but on the same token, you also aren't too wary of being outright killed. And that big crit there, you know, it's not the thing you want to see from Delirious, let's be honest. Being relegated to this sort of heal over time bot in the back ranks here, not wanting to waste his turn going forward, but also... I suppose playing too fast really to look ahead of this turn count. You can, well, some might say you can't really focus your game around crits. You can't play every turn thinking, well, what would happen here if I was to be critically hit? Against a team like Halos, especially with the trinkets like the Arbalest has there that increases the critical hit strike, you really, really do want to, I suppose, hedge your bets for the worst case situation. And there we go again. Often in RNG-heavy games like this, and particularly in things like Hearthstone, the sort of true champion is someone who can, rather than playing the cards they're dealt and simply do what they think is best in the moment, try to sort their curve, give themselves a bit of leeway, a bit of bump room if they were to kind of have this ridiculous RNG blown against them. Lady Luck is a fickle beast, and it would appear that Delirious does... Who's here? Okay, there we go. Screen broke there just for a moment. Sheperd Doggy looking in quite a bit. Oh, there we go. You love to see that Dirk Stab finish from the Jester here. Taking out the Flagellant in a way that, again, I said I wanted to see it from the finale there, but a kill is a kill, and Dirk Stab is... Oh, there we go. Add insult to injury, he's going to hook in the Flagellant, pushing the Leper there back into third position, where all he can really do is absolve himself, obviously, if using the correct terminology. A cheeky little mark for death there. Very interesting to see Sheperd Doggy actually take both the mark for death and the grappling hook, which I believe also does mark you there. So Sheperd Doggy perhaps even foreseeing a situation like this where he doesn't really want to manipulate himself out of a very good position. Delirious here, his leper and his man-at-arms. On somewhat of a vainglorious last stand, but looking at Sheperd Doggy's team here, the core of his team, the middle two, the little agile meat of the Jester and the Bounty Hunt here, are both figuratively and literally on their last legs. Oh, Delirious hit, there we go. We're seeing a surrender here from Delirious. By name, by nature, seeing a very fast pace and I'd say a little bit careless gameplay here. I'd like to see both of these people slow down a little bit, but when you are the person facing the Halo comp, really the onus on slowing down, that's on you rather than on the Halo team. Even a mediocrely piloted Halo team, if they hit their stride, can quite easily follow a 1, 2, 3, 4 rotation. Going into this second of a potential 5 games now here, you do have to be wondering what, I suppose, what on-the-fly changes Delirious could make if he deemed it necessary to do so. Sheperd Doggy's Halo team being taken out here, one of the biggest threats of the competition. And perhaps we're seeing this decision not to ban the Halo team as sort of biting him now. The Sheperd Doggy is, I suppose his bite is worse than his bark at this point. Sheperd Doggy, we say that his Halo team is gone, but he has this Musketeer Halo team, generally considered as an objectively inferior version of the Halo team, if we want to be somewhat clinical about it. But with that said, it is still an unbelievably potent tool, particularly against teams like the one we just saw, these sort of slower, grindier teams, if we can say that. These teams that are really vulnerable to being moved in position, very vulnerable to being hooked in, where one hook can potentially take 2 turns off. You have to move back a couple characters. I'll take a short break here while these two gods of the arena look over their little pawns, see what they will be doing. Bad thing about solo casting is there's no time to smoke or take a drink.
Forgive failure.
It is time again, my friends. Sheperd, Doggy, and Delirious facing each other in the most unholy of circuses, the Butcher's Circus. Unsheathing their blades now, it would appear Delirious gets first pick. Taking a little bit more... Oh no, it's Sheperd Doggy here with the first pick, popping out an early caltrops here. Deciding again to focus on this sort of buff strategy, or almost kind of constant debuff strategy. You've got the caltrops you'd like to throw out, you've got the battle ballad from the Jester, and you also have the option of running a Bulwark of Faith from the Crusader here. If he does indeed do all... Yep, it looks like he's going to be doing all 3 of those this time, which is going to give him a pretty considerable advantage if this does drag into the later games. But what we have seen from the prior game is that these Halo matches very rarely do need to drag on into the later games. Especially against a a composition like this, but we are seeing these early bellows starting to quite brutally affect the backline here. The Crusader, it doesn't matter too much if he isn't affected by the bellow, just due to the fact that he is more often than anything a stun boss, no? From Delirious here, taking a little bit more time there again. Oh, popping out a restoration here on the Grave Rob. We're seeing very, very interesting use of this flagellant here. Taking this almost cruciform mythology onto himself. Oh, dearie me. Dearie me, I think we need to talk about that now. An instant flick headshot here from Sheperd Doggy. Completely words.exce'd this Grave Robber, pushing him right back down. Thank God, though, this was a very, very prescient pre-reclaim, pre-redeem, whatever it's called, onto this Grave Robber here, allowing him to just be picked, healed up, obviously now suffering from that Death's Door debuff, though, something you really don't want this early on in the game. But now he's in a position where he can throw out a poison dart, something like that. But Sheperd Doggy is now in Jester range. You see him taking that Jester, going down the Harvest. I perhaps would have liked to have seen a Dirk Stab there, just to actually allow him throw a Finale down, if he did want to next time. It did look like that Grave Robber was, you know, becoming somewhat of a fertile target for the plough, for the reaping. Sheperd Doggy now taking not much time at all to stunning blow with that Crusader. It's perhaps a burden, perhaps a curse, that we have these powerhouses teams, powerhouse units that have been pushed so far into what I believe we can term niches, really, no matter how generalized they may be. The Arbalest, obviously, her niche is just being good at everything, which is a great niche. It's Sheperd Doggy's niche, I believe. That is interesting, though. We're seeing I believe a finish him also has a damage multiplier buff against someone who is stunned. Perhaps that's a different ability that he also used there. But countering up that stun with the finish hit. Oh, good lord, come on. Not a critical hit there, just somewhat naughty gameplay here from Sheperd, though. We might need to get a VAC official looking at that grave, that Musketeer's aid, rather. Thankfully, not putting too much of a skip in Delirious's step. That Flagellant is out of the danger zone right now. But for how long, it'd be difficult to see, as Sheperd Doggy really has every option available he could want now. He could even hook it in and shoot it and finale it. Really, in this turn, you do want to be seeing Sheperd Doggy try and do some sort of finale play. That's quite interesting there, taking the Jester early, obviously locking himself out of the opportunity cost of a later finale, but applying this early DOT damage. This Musketeer becoming somewhat stressed out at the end here, but if this is a stress win condition for Delirious, I think he's 4 turns up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, unfortunately. And the Leb here resisting that stun, thankfully, sitting at 80% stun resist. You would like to resist a couple of them every now and again, let's be honest. Yeah, choosing just to use this Grave Robber almost as the sole source of single target damage, the sole source of snipe damage here. Interestingly enough, also choosing to spread it out over the Bounty Hunter and the Musketeer, rather than just focusing it on the Musketeer, which I thought could have been a prescient play that we've seen from Delirious before. But this Bellow bot pop out, really you'd be forgiven for forgetting that the Musketeer has quite a hefty damage reduction buff on her from these bellows, just based on the magnitude of these critical hits, which is, if you ask me, a little bit sickening. This Flagellant heal bot at the back is proving to be a very, very beefy and persistent, if not vulnerable, target. This leper here again is probably got a concussion from the consistent Crusader stuns. Something that for Delirious you are perhaps thankful that it's not evolving into this kind of double stun scenario where half of your turn is just wasted. But this murder arm to the front here with 120% stun resist, I think realistically has got a very high percent chance of not being stunned by that. So for Sheperd Doggy, perhaps salient here to unfortunately give this this leper early onset CT and pugilistic dementia. Sheperd Doggy now slowing his roll slightly, choosing to harvest here for a very long time. I think he might be wanting to save that finale for perhaps a second kill. I think he smells blood in the water here and thinks he can do it with a without a finale. This bounty hunter now, a little bit worse for wear. Unfortunately, popped with his insanity thing. I can't remember what it's called, an affliction perhaps. At very low health with this blight ticking off. Interesting pick here from Delirious to swap that focus target, but it seems to be paying off a little bit here. Quick counter there, obviously, from Sheperd Doggy doing the Musketeers rallying flare analog from Arbalest. At least something like Skeet Shoot, maybe. I can't remember. There we go, from Flagellant using up one of his redeem charges, perhaps it's called. Pushing him a little bit far out of harm's range, which, quite frankly, on turn 5 is somewhat amazing here. Sheperd Doggy is slow rolling this a little bit, wanting to get the benefit out of his early buffs. He's had a couple fantastic opportunities to do something like an early finale to play a little bit on the riskier end and take advantage of some of those incredible crits he got earlier. But now he's in a position where his bounty hunter is functionally dead this turn. Functionally dead. If he gets a particularly unlucky hit against him, that death blow is just going to pop like a cherry. And unfortunately, it is Sunday. There you go. A cherry on Sunday. Choosing here to fade away. Very, very odd play. Personally would have gone for a pick to the face there. Just tried to capitalize on any opportunity you're given. The kind of tombow of this game could be very, very different going forward if that was to be a kill. Be able to play really without the fear of much movement or without the fear of much marks. But as we've seen here, Delirious is slowly backing himself into this corner where he's being whittled down by these constant bleeds across his team. So that is a very big absolution, though. Not so much being whittled down anymore as being reverted to a full mighty oak. The mighty oak of the leper being hit for 6 a turn with 2 turns left. Not going to make much of a dent in his armor as we appear right now, but that stun coming down is just annoying, as it always is. A ranging shot there again. Clearing up all of those bellow debuffs. It is brutal to see this. We can talk until the cows come home about the balance in this game, but that's just a bit wild. It's a bit crazy. Being a reminder of exactly what that does. There we go. We see Sheperd Doggy's Jester pushing to the front of the stage now. Hopefully he will be looking to entertain the circus with a monstrous finale. There we go. Oh! What a crit. A 44 crit hit, deleting the Grave Robber. Absolutely deleting the Grave Robber there. Perhaps making this, potential loss of the bounty hunter for Sheperd's Doggy here not such a bitter pill to swallow. But it would seem that Delirious just is not capable of capitalizing on that Death's Door bounty hunter. Sheperd Doggy dancing dangerously close to the edge. Dancing so hard the dancer becomes the dancer from Sheperd Doggy. Delirious's defense-heavy, peculiar flagellant build here, unfortunately not being able to do much work here against Sheperd Doggy's brutal double Halo comp, Halo Infinite comp here from Sheperd Doggy. Dumping out another one of those naughty little heal over times here from the flagellant, but again, unable to really put on any meaningful offense against this bounty hunter until pop, there we go, Death's Door. Doesn't get the lucky kill this turn. I could foresee a future wherein Delirious could win this, but it would be one of these very odd flagellant games we've seen before. And again, just so quick. Look at this gameplay, man. You'd think they weren't in the final stages of the Sheperd Doggy Invitational, wouldn't you? I would really love to see. Wow, it's quite an interesting stun there. Resisted quite reasonably against a 120% stun resist Madadams. That is why you take the snuff box on him after all, isn't it? This flagellant now, spurred on here by the announcer shouting "Act now!" Don't let the crowd get to your head, Delirious, pal. Well, there we are. I suppose now's the turn he pushes him to the forward. Pushes him to the forward. Pushes him forward. He does have a naughty little guard here, which could protect him from some of the more frontal damage here. Quite an interesting play there, just choosing to toss down a smack on this. Oh boy, there you go. It's that there we go, into the surrender. It doesn't take much time to think of anything, especially not that surrender, it would appear. That Dirk stab, perhaps the jester dancing a jig on the grave of that fallen hero is a little bit too much for him to take.
All right, sis.
There you are.
There we go. I just felt like I was trying to crack a nut for like 8 turns in a row. I heard all of your commentary. It was very good, very good.
In the inimitable words of George St. Pierre, I am not impressed with your performance, Sheperd Doggy.